So it is actually my pleasure and honor to, in fact, welcome Mr. Kendall C. Sanford, who's the president, the Metropolitan Airport Society, and aerophilatelist. So just a very interesting profile. Ken is retired from the airline industry after 40 years, has been an aerophilatelist for most of that time. He worked for Pan Am as manager passenger services at the Pan Am headquarters in New York from 1969 to 1974, and then in a similar position for the International Air Transport Association in Geneva, Switzerland for 23 years. He is specialized in the philately of Imperial Airways for over 40 years. His collections have won gold medals in national level exhibitions with international participation in the USA, Great Britain, and Switzerland. He is also a past president of the American Airmail Society and is a current member of that society's board of directors. Ken is president of the Metropolitan Airport Society, which is an aerophilatelic society in the New York metropolitan area. He has given displays of his Imperial Airways crash mail collections to aerophilatelic societies in many countries around the world. Ken is also a member of all the aerophilatelic societies in English speaking countries, and it is absolutely a delight to have Ken talking about the crash mails on the Imperial Airways flying boats. So, the Imperial Airways was Britain's primary international airline from 1924 to 1940. The majority of its aircraft were flying boats. This display will show covers from flying boats which crashed. It included many scarce or rare markings and covers where very few covers have been reported. Ken, it's all yours, and we look forward to this interesting talk by you. Thank you so much.
So I thought today I would just limit my talk to talk about the crashes of the flying boats, because that was the primary aircraft that Imperial Airways operated. Even though they started in 1924, we don't have any crashes recorded between 1924 and 1929. In 1929, they started operating short flying boats from England to Egypt and then on to India. So this was a crash on the north coast of Egypt in a place called Mersa Matruh, which was a refueling stop on the flights to between England and India. On landing, they hit a submerged rock and broke the hull open. Luckily, they had another aircraft there, so they loaded everybody, the passengers and mail, onto the other aircraft, and that hit a submerged rock on takeoff. So that's a double crash on that one day. This is a large cover, not very good condition anymore, which was from the UK to Calcutta. There's a little handwritten manuscript explanation of the that it was in that crash. This is an ambulance cover that accompanied it. That's one of the earliest known ambulance covers. This is from the Calcutta Post Office. Here's another cover from that double crash, and that got a little cachet, probably applied in India, damaged during transit by air. It's addressed to Bombay, so that was probably applied there. Here's another cover to Sitapur, and it has a little manuscript explanation on the bottom that it was in the crash. The next flying boat crash was the short city of Rome near La Spezia, Italy. No covers have been recorded from that, even though it was probably carrying mail. The next one was the city of Khartoum. That was a short S8 Calcutta. There's two covers recorded from that crash. There were no caches or markings put on the covers, so that's why they're rare. The city of Khartoum, between Juba and Khartoum, 18 March 31. That's the second of two covers recorded. The next one was the Satiris, and that crashed in Heraklion, Crete in May 31. There's only two covers recorded from that as well. Again, no crash caches or markings were applied. That really wasn't a crash, but they damaged a wingtip on takeoff and they couldn't continue. This was the city of Khartoum, again, July 4th, 31, in Kabanga Port near Entebbe, Uganda. No covers recorded from that one. This is the city of Khartoum, crashed in Alexandria, Egypt. That was December 31st, 35. Here's a cover from that. Very unusual, from Denmark to Java in Indonesia. Here's another cover from UK to Adelaide, Australia, with a nice cache salvage ex-city of Khartoum. That's the ambulance cover from Adelaide. Here's another one from England to Dutch East Indies to Surabaya. That has a little label applied in Indonesia in Dutch. This was the city of Khartoum. The mail was being dried out on the lawn in front of the Bombay post office. This is a newspaper article that I found. I thought that was an interesting way for them to dry out the mail. This is a very famous one, the Scipio. That crashed in Mirabella Bay in Crete in August 36. It was very shallow water, so you see the aircraft is not under the water. It's just sitting on in the shallow water after it crashed. A lot of mail from this. There's 30 or 40 different cache varieties. It was going to England, so most of the caches were applied in England, but some covers are to other countries. This one is to Holland, which is quite scarce. Another one to Holland with a little label that was applied in Paris because the mail was processed through Paris, other than the mail going to England. Here's a cover, a little explanation applied by the London return letter section that was applied on quite a lot of covers going to England. This is a very interesting cover. It's a morning cover, and from the Marquis of I don't know the name, the actual name, Singdom or something like that. But anyway, very unusual cover. Oh, it's from Bahawalpur. This was the first flight of this short S-23 flying boat, the Capricornus, that was going from England, landing in France, and then going on to Egypt. The crew got confused. There was a snowstorm, and they crashed into a mountain in the Beaujolais Mountains. I've actually been there. When I lived in Geneva, they put up a monument in that location, and I went to the ceremony that they had. And there was a gentleman who was a child who lived near this crash, and he borrowed his father's brownie camera and went and took pictures of it. And he gave me the negatives, and this is one of the pictures that he took. There's only a couple of covers known from this. They're very rare because there were no crash markings applied. And this is a cover from England to India from that. Yep, it's not advancing. Something's wrong. There we go. The next one was the short flying boat, the Courtier, and that crashed in Faileron Bay, Greece in October 37. A lot of mail known from this, 30 or 40 different cachet varieties. This is a cover from England to, it's a Paquebot cover from Egypt, Port Said, to England. So it was posted by somebody off of a ship in India. Very unusual to find a Paquebot cover from these crashes. Here's a cover from Palestine to England, and you see the letters KLM. Well, the sender knew the schedules because KLM was operating from Palestine to Holland, and Imperial was operating to England. And so the sender thought this cover was going to go on KLM, and for some reason it missed that flight and got on the Imperial flight and was caught on the crash. I've seen another cover with a similar KLM written on it. This is a cover from Palestine to Czechoslovakia, very unusual destination. It's from Tel Aviv. The next one was the Cygnus, crashed in Brindisi, Italy, on landing. I think it was they bounced off the water and quite high and came down and big damage to the aircraft. There's lots of covers known from this. Maybe again 30 or 40 cachet varieties, which we list them all in Air Crash Mail of the World. Every known variety we show. This is a very unusual origin, Rarotonga in the Pacific, the Cook Islands. Obviously a philatelic cover, but still very nice, very unusual. This is a slip that was applied by the Mount Pleasant post office. A lot of this crash mail was processed through this returned letter section, Mount Pleasant in London. This is another one with an ambulance cover from London. This was a short flying boat, the Cordelia. I don't know if this was a crash or was a crash or maybe just a forced landing near Le Boule in France, and no mail is known from that. There's one cover, this one, to Australia, England to Australia. This was another short flying boat, the Corio, crashed in Sharjah in July 36. Mail very rare from this. There's only one or two covers known. This is from England to Melbourne, Australia. You notice no cachets, so that's why covers are rare, because most of them would have been thrown away. People didn't save them. This was going from down through Africa. The series crashed in Wadi Halfa, Sudan. That's the northern part of Sudan on the Nile River. This is a cover from Nyasaland to England. Again, no cachets, no crash cachets, so covers are very rare. This is the Canopus, which is operating through Burma, November 10, 38. The covers, again, are very rare. This is a cover from Poland to Melbourne, Australia. Again, no cachet markings, so crash markings, so that's why covers are scarce or rare. The Calpurnia, that was operating from England down through Iraq. It crashed on the Lake Habiana in Iraq. Letters were scattered, floating on the lake. They were recovered by the British military people who were there. A lot of mail from that, mostly to Australia. This one's to New Zealand, and with this two-line cachet. A different one, a different cachet to Tasmania, and somebody typed an explanation on the back explaining the whole crash. This one's to Perth, Western Australia. The Calypso, that was operating from Africa up through to England. They had an incident in Alderney in the Channel Islands where the aircraft was damaged. Covers are very rare because, again, no cachet crash markings. These are two covers. I don't even have these in my collection. These are photocopies that I obtained from somebody. Covers from Cape Town to England. This was the Cavalier that was operating from New York to Bermuda. It crashed off of Bermuda, and no covers were ever recovered or recorded from this crash. This was the Cambria. This got caught in a storm and crashed in Mozambique. And again, no covers recorded from this. The Capella that was operating through from England to Australia crashed in Batavia, Java in March 39. Covers are very rare. There's only one or two covers from this. Here's one from Australia to England. It was actually, it was operating from Australia to England. I mentioned this is from the Brian Peace collection. That was sold just a couple of months ago in the big auction in Australia. His whole collection was sold there. This was an interesting crash. This was operating from South Africa up north to England. The pilot got lost. It was getting dark. He was running low on fuel. And he found a little river near Firegy in the Belgian Congo and landed. The river was so narrow that the wingtips were almost touching the shore. And he hit a submerged rock, ripped open the hull. It took them about 6 months to repair the aircraft, and they finally, after about 6 months, they flew it out of there, and it continued to operate all during the Second World War. There was a whole book written about this crash called Corsairville. They had to build a dam of big boulders and logs to make a large enough area to take off. And on the first attempt, it hit another submerged rock and ripped open the hull. Then it took them a few more months to repair it, and they finally got it out of there. This is a very nice cover from Siegel's Kosher Butchery in Johannesburg. I gave a display to the Airmail Society of Southern Africa back in the 90s, and the people that listened to my talk said, "Oh yeah, Siegel's Butcher still in business." There's a photo of it after hitting the rock. For some reason, it's not advancing. I don't know what's wrong. Okay, there we are. There's another cover from that crash. Very unusual, to Paraguay. Very, very unusual destination. The mail was, other than to England, was processed through Paris, so that's why it has a French cachet on it. This was a short flying boat, the Challenger, that was operating from England down to South Africa. And on landing in Lumbo, Mozambique, it crashed. Quite a lot of mail known from this. I thought these newspaper photos were interesting with all the guys standing on the top of the airplane. This is a official cover from Canada, which is a bit unusual. from St. John, New Brunswick to Cape Town. This is a cover to Durban, South Africa. This is the standard cachet that was applied in English and Afrikaans. As another cover, this is from Ireland to Natal. Now, you don't see many covers from Ireland. This little round cachet, that was applied by Francis Field on these covers. He had a rubber stamp with the names of these different aircraft, and he would stamp those on covers that went through his hands. This is the Centurion, and this crashed on landing in Calcutta in June 39. Quite a lot of mail, many different cachet varieties. And the cachets were made up of the John Bull rubber stamp sets where you assemble the letters by hand. So there's lots of varieties. You see a backward D here, spelled Centuria. We have, 30 or 40 different varieties of cachets from this. This is an interesting newspaper newspaper photo, which shows the passengers and the crew standing on the back of the aircraft, waiting to be rescued. And then a few minutes later, it sunk, and you can see just the tail sticking out. These are different, some different varieties. You can see upside down N or backwards N, missing letters, Centuria, M missing in mail, many different varieties. S missing in salvaged, M missing in mail, and so on. This was the Calypso, short flying boat that crashed in Bahrain in July 39. Again, no covers recorded. This was the Australia, crashed in Basra, Iraq, and you can see it is beached up on the shore there. No covers recorded. So although Imperial had a few crashes after November 39, no covers have been recorded for many of them. In March 40, there was a Handley Page P-42 that was not a flying boat and disappeared over the Gulf of Oman. No wreckage, cargo, mail, or occupants were found. And after that, it was recommended all commercial aircraft used in long flights over water be equipped with personal and group life-saving gear. And this would later become standard throughout the airline industry. One of those flying boat crashes in the Mediterranean. After that, they recommended seatbelts for the passengers, which weren't required up until then. And on April 1940, Imperial and British Airways, not the current one, were officially combined into a new company, British Overseas Aircraft Corporation, and that later became what is a current British Airways. In 2001, I published a book, Air Crash Mail of Imperial Airways, that sold about 400 copies. That was the first time anybody did a book on Imperial crashes. And then 2 years ago, the American Airmail Society published Air Crash Mail of the World. That incorporated recovered mail by Henry Nehrink and the American Airmail Catalog crash section. And that's 2,400 pages, lists all known crashes worldwide, showing all the different cachet varieties, and we price them. That's still available from me, so you can contact me if you want a copy. It's $30 plus postage. We have a society called the Wreck and Crash Mail Society. I'm the editor of their journal, La Catastrophe, for many, many years. And this is just a sample of the front page of one of our issues. That was actually the Challenger crash in Mozambique, those photos. And that's it.
Ken, thank you so much. In fact, absolutely amazing and such an insightful and the most interesting presentation at a talk. Thank you so much.